rounds of boxing for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. Sanctioned by the BDB President Thomas Putz and the World Boxing Council President Jose Suleiman, Supervisor for the WBC Rex Walker. The three judges at ringside scoring this bout will be from France, Robin Dopierre, from Hungary, Bella Florian, and from Guyana, Eddie Popo. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, from Italy, your referee, Guido Cavalieri. And now, the officials are ready, the fighters are ready. So for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the Union Jack colors and officially weighing in at 109.4 kilograms or 241 2/10 pounds. His professional record as a fighter, 17 fights, 15 victories, including 9 knockouts with 2 defeats. From London, England, presenting the challenger, Derek Bellboy Chisora. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing black and gold, officially weighing 110.5 kilograms or 243.6 pounds. His professional fighting record, 45 fights, with 43 victories, including 40 knockouts, only 2 defeats. From Kiev, Ukraine, and Hamburg, Germany, the 3-time heavyweight world champion, the reigning, defending WBC heavyweight champion of the world, the Weltmeister, Dr. Eisenfaust, Vitaly Klitschko.
All right, this could be interesting as we wait for the instructions from referee Guido Cavalieri. Will Chisora behave? By the way, 53 minutes before let's get ready to rumble.
Felt like about 53 hours, Bruce.
Chisora is finally in the ring. Trainer is Don Charles. Tunde Ajayi is the there's a look at what happened earlier.
I mean, that's just no class. Spitting on Vladimir Klitschko.
I mean, he looked like an angry fighter when he was being introduced.
You know, when you do one thing like that, maybe it's you're trying to get gamesmanship. When you continue to do things time and again,
then it borders on disrespect.
Not only that, but it tells me that mentally he's not there.
Let's listen in.
It's time.
Everything else will happen now in the ring. Tunde Ajayi, Dean Powell, Don Charles was the corner for Chisora. Bern Bonte and Fritz Stunek is the corner. Bonte is the manager. Stunek in the corner with Vladimir Klitschko.
Is Klitschko going to teach Chisora a lesson for being a bad boy? Or is Chisora going to back up everything he said and done this week?
Unified rules of boxing, 10-point must system. 3 judges score the fight. No standing 8 count. No 3 knockdown rule. A boxer cannot be saved by the bell in any round. Will it be an angry Klitschko to start this bout?
Well, he already let one right hand go. It usually takes a little while to get that rolling. So maybe he feels like, you know what, let me see what he can take right away. I'm sure he would love to put him out quick, Freddie.
He would definitely. Chisora's pressure is obviously going to be made for a fast start for both fighters because he's being aggressive coming forward.
Helsinki and never stopped. And Chisora took the fight to Robert Helenius on December 3rd in Helsinki and never stopped. That is what the game plan is. He hopes to employ again tonight, but he's up against world-class opposition. in Vitaly Klitschko. 5.5-inch height advantage, 5-inch reach advantage for Klitschko. And Freddie, we're going to key off that jab of Klitschko, which you talked about in your keys to victory.
And there's the right hand right behind it. They've been on it very well. And he's leading with the hook a little bit tonight because Chisora is slipping into the hook. And he's having very good success with that short hook.
Chisora missed with a wild right hand.
He did. If he puts the right hand behind that hook, it might be something.
I'll tell you right now, it seems to me that Vitaly usually takes a little bit of time to get rolling. He likes to feel his guy out, sort of build things up a little bit. He's starting a lot quicker tonight than he has in fast fights, as far as I can tell.
And I think for good reason. He was irked a little bit. A right hand landing by Chisora. Nice little combination by Klitschko.
He's trying to do what he did against Chisora, which is come over the top of that, not wild, but overhand right. He's going to have a little tougher time, I think, landing it on Klitschko than he did against Chisora. Vitaly's defense is a bit better.
Klitschko has better defense, and he's a little taller, and he pulls away from that shot. He fights off the back foot a lot, and he does that. He's really hard to hit with that overhand right. That's why I think Chisora should go to the body first and try to break him down.
Klitschko landing the right hand.
He's landed some very solid shots this round.
And there's a good body blow, too, by Klitschko. Another right hand. And you're right, Dan. Instead of like a little feeling out process, this is like a middle round for him.
Yeah, it's a fast pace for Klitschko. And he's got the stamina. He's done it before. Most of his fights end in knockout, but when he's had to go the distance, he's done it no problem.
And Chisora is missing with a lot of his punches, lunging in that last punch. And the crowd just glad that this fight is underway.
Also, läuft gut. Klappt wunderbar mit der linken von unten. Stößchen. Der rechte Aufwärtshake in die Mitte hoch, das klappt. Und mit Sitzung erwischen. Nicht mit Gewalt den rechten Crossschlag. Er muss nur schnell kommen.
Fritz Dunek, of his trainer, obviously talking in German in the corner between rounds.
And here's a look at the total punches in that first round. And Fred, just a solid round for Klitschko.
Definitely a solid round and a quick start for Klitschko, but you see he's landing nice. He's very confident with his combinations. He's not really throwing for power yet. He's just kind of breaking this guy down. He's measuring him. The power shots, I think, will come soon, though.
We saw Chisora there got through with the left hand.
He did get through with the left hand, for sure.
Round 2 coming up, scheduled for 12. WBC heavyweight title, 8th defense for Vitaly Klitschko. And now Chisora trying to get busy. Lands the jab and starts chasing Dr. Iron Fist.
He's trying to get inside. He's trying to follow, I think, a similar plan to get inside that long reach of Klitschko, the same way he did against Helenius. The difference, of course, is that when he gets in there, he's met with something much more difficult to deal with than he was when he got inside against Helenius.
Another right hand that missed badly by Chisora. But he's being aggressive.
Freddie, this is the distance that Klitschko wants, isn't it? When he had that jab out there, he got right at the end of it.
Right at the end of the jab. But there's a good right hand by Chisora. I mean, he's bobbing and weaving. He's trying to fight. At least he's out there trying to win the fight at this point. I like what I see.
And, you know, so many fighters lose, I think, to Klitschko before they even get in the ring because of the fear factor. He has no fear. He is a fearless competitor.
Well, I'm not so sure about that, Bruce. I think that some of the antics, the spitting in the face of Vladimir, the slap, you know, the delay in coming out of the ring, that could be a little fear too because he's trying to delay it.
But his style right now is not showing fear. Whether it's smart or not, we'll have to judge. Midway through round 2. Only Klitschko and George Foreman have successfully defended their belt at age 40 or older.
As heavyweights.
As heavyweights. And Klitschko content to clinch there.
I like how Klitschko's throwing the right hand to the body. It's not a punch he uses that much, but he's thrown it several times so far through the first round and a half or so. It could be an effective weapon for him to slow Chisora's pressure down a little bit.
But Freddie, it looks like it's difficult to throw a straight right hand at the range he wants to if the opponent, as is Chisora here, is right on top of him.
Yeah, he's kind of smothering that punch a little bit, and he's causing him it's a little bit crowding himself a little bit, and it's very difficult because he is coming forward. So the head movement it is effective right now, and I like Chisora is backing him up a little bit, and he's having a little more success in this round. But Klitschko is still, I think, winning the round.
Round two in the books, and there was Chisora lunging very close to the bell. Borderline late, but Klitschko didn't seem bothered by it, and neither did the referee, Guido Cavallari.
Du stehst ein bisschen tiefer stehen, dass ein bisschen mehr Druck in der rechten Hand drin ist. Hast du ein paar Mal so gut getroffen. Linke von unten klappt wunderbar. Schritt zurück, vorbeischlagen und dann die rechte raufdrücken. Richtig von reinziehen. Ich will den rechten aufwärts haben. Tempo ist okay, du musst ein bisschen raus.
There's a good combination.
That right hand was right on the button. He lands a lot of those this fight. You know, who knows how long Chisora can stand up, but those are damaging shots on the head. Clean.
And here's a look at the numbers through 2 rounds. Klitschko by far busier. But Chisora's percentage is not bad at all. It's even better than Klitschko right now.
Yeah, the thing is, he is going forward, and he is backing Klitschko up a little bit, and I thought Klitschko would dictate the pace of the fight a little more with the jab.
Round 3 scheduled for 12. And there up on his toes is Chisora. Coming to the inside, chopping away at the belly.
He's really loading up on the right hand, Klitschko. It's kind of unusual. He throws them in his fights, but he seems to really be going after it this fight.
Yeah, usually he sets it up with the jab, but now he's going with the lead hook and the lead right hand, because I think
I mean, it's working because he's winning the fight, but I would like to see him just jab a little more.
And there,
the plan that they set forth, it's been the most, so successful for him time and time.
Chisora doing a lot of lunging too.
There's a lot of pressure in there, a lot of lunging, and just jumping in with that one big shot. Not landing the shot yet, but he's trying to win the fight.
Oh, a right hand by Klitschko, right on the button.
Beautiful right uppercut, I think it was.
And Chisora still comes after him.
He's got a good chin, I'll give Chisora that much. A lot of guys get knocked out by a shot like that.
A short left hand by Klitschko, not really a jab, just a little uppercut. Right hand again got through by Klitschko. And I think he's saying, if you want to follow me around the ring, Derek, I'll punch you anywhere.
One thing that he hasn't seen in recent fights, Klitschko, is guys that go after him. But Chisora's doing that. When he fought Thomas Adamek in his last fight, Adamek just stood there, basically followed him around and got a beating until he was stopped. Same thing. Solis' fight ended prematurely, so who knows how that would have unfolded in the first round. It ended with a knee injury. Shannon Briggs, Klitschko did the same thing, just beat the heck out of him for 12 rounds, just laid an absolute brutal beating on him. Briggs was there, showed heart, showed a chin, but wasn't aggressive because he was just completely negated. Chisora is in there spirited, trying to fight back.
Combination by Klitschko.
Taking those right hands, Bruce.
And he has eaten some leather early here, especially on the right hand. Freddie, it's almost like he's keying off the right hand.
He really is. He's teeing off with that right hand, and he's having great success with it, and if it works, it works. Keep using it.
So you can work at all that stuff in the gym like you talked about, some of the keys to victory with the extended left jab just holding the fighter at bay, but you have to adapt.
Sometimes when you get in there, you have to make adjustments to make that adaptation, and that's definitely what he's doing.
And another lunge by Chisora, a wild miss there.
I think maybe Vitaly has taken, you know, that initial outburst from Chisora, and because it seems like he might be slowing down just a little bit. That there was so much energy at the beginning.
The adrenaline,
you know, just wanted to go and get it.
See that right uppercut? That was a beautiful shot.
Right hand, he's got 44 so far. In right hand, he's got 44 so far in this fight.
Just to tell the audience, power punches are anything other than a jab. Not necessarily a shot that a guy loads up on, but it shows you that it's anything other than a jab.
Glad we could share the Epix punch stats with you tonight. And hope you're enjoying this action on Epix, the multi-platform premium entertainment service. Bruce Beck along with Dan Rayfield and Freddie Roach. Round 4, scheduled for 12. WBC heavyweight title. Dan, let's go to your scorecard after 3.
Well, very spirited fight so far. Both guys showing a lot of energy, but I think that Klitschko is landing by far the harder punches. He's been landing the more volume of punches, and he's leading 3-0 on my scorecard. But Chisora's been in the fight.
Freddie, I gave Chisora the second round. What about you?
I gave it to Klitschko, but very close round. But you know, you definitely see it that way. He was pressuring him a lot and backing him up, and Klitschko was a little bit less active in that round.
Now Klitschko goes back to throwing the jab.
I mean, I watch this guy's output, and I think to myself, remember, he is 40 years old. He did have a 4-year layoff at one point in his career. And he's in there, and he does not look like he's 40. He's fighting right now like he's 28, the way Chisora is.
Well, his body's 36, if you're telling me minus the 4 years. He's lost twice in his career to Chris Bird, to Lennox Lewis. Both can be talked about as far as injuries in those respective fights.
Yeah, one was a torn rotator cuff against Bird. One was a nasty cut over the eye, terrible cut against Lennox Lewis. And 2 fights he was leading at the time that they were stopped.
But there's Chisora, eager to stay active and continuing to press Klitschko. That was a good little weave. That was a good little weave by Chisora.
He just didn't throw anything behind it, though, did he, Freddie?
Yeah,
You know, I think Chisora's a little awkward for Klitschko to fight here. I mean, he makes it difficult, problematic. He landed the right hand there, but he's right in your face.
he is right in your face, and he's coming. And Klitschko's he's really not used to this. The guy's coming at him so aggressively, and it's making for a good fight.
Well, since he came out of retirement in 2008 and beat Samuel Peter, including the Peter fight, Del Boy Chisora by far the most aggressive fighter that Klitschko has seen. No question about it.
Crowd responding to that last punch by Chisora, but I don't think it did much damage. Final seconds of round 4. Right hand by Klitschko. Combination by Klitschko to end the round.
Linke von unten bringen,
One thing about Klitschko, also has a great chin. Never been down, pro, amateur, or even when he kickboxed. Took a clean slap at the press conference unexpectedly. It didn't go down.
But Chisora hasn't really landed any really clean power shots yet. And, you know, Klitschko, he's very rangy and hard to get to.
Oh, there's the right hand, Fred.
And the comeback right hand from Chisora sort of was grazing. It kind of caught him on the shoulder or the gloves a little bit. But those are clean right hands. And that's why, even though Chisora's making a good fight, he's aggressive, he's taking a great shot. That's why Klitschko's winning, because his shots are landing hard. Chisora's are kind of landing, but not anything flush, like Freddie said.
More like glancing blows.
Vladimir Klitschko in the corner, working with his brother tonight. He'll be in action on March 3rd in Dusseldorf against Jean-Marc Mormec, the two-time world cruiserweight champion.
The third of 3 straight heavyweight fights we have here on Epics, Bruce. Looking forward to those next 2.
Heck of a 3-fight stretch. This is round 5. And Chisora again picking up where he left off. You can almost see Klitschko just waiting to land that right hand on a wild miss. And he did that in the 4th round. Uppercut. It got through there. And now Chisora more content to just cover up and come inside and pressure the fight and eat some leather.
The way he covers up with that kind of crab sort of defense, slightly reminiscent of the way Big George Foreman did when he put his hands together, try to get in there. Doesn't fight quite like George, but the defense is similar.
What do you make of the peekaboo stuff, Fred?
Well, it's a passive defense, and it's really hard to counterpunch off of. I don't really agree with that style so much, because you don't have that counterpunch, and the only way it works is off the bob and weave like a Tyson, from that tight stance with those hands guarding your face like that. It's great defense, but it doesn't win fights.
And look at Klitschko now trying to decipher what his opponent is doing. Klitschko's probably thrown more right hands in this fight than we would have expected, and less jabs.
Right now, Chisora just not throwing any punches. He's got his guard up, and he's kind of boring out. Chisora just not throwing any punches. He's got his guard up, and he's kind of boring in on him. Not really throwing anything, though.
Klitschko has thrown half the amount of jabs that he did in his previous 8 fights. So he really has gotten into this right hand domination in this fight. And it's almost like Chisora is trying to get Klitschko to throw so many punches he'll tire himself out here.
Yeah, possibly. You know, they could be a good game plan actually to try to break him down and get him to wear himself out. And he's counting on the 40-year-old getting a little tired in there.
But you can't win around that way.
If you're depending on winning this fight because you think Vitaly might get tired in the second half of the fight, that is a very poor game plan.
Agreed, but we've seen it before.
The judges aren't going to do him any favor in Germany. I mean, if Vitaly's built up a big lead, we think so far, it's going to be very, very difficult to overcome when you're so passive.
An uppercut got through by Chisora. So finally, he threw 4 punches, and now some more after going almost the entire round and just covering up and letting Klitschko throw leather, whether it was the jab or the straight right hand. So you can't possibly give Chisora that round. I mean, we got to go back into the Willie Pep days before a guy won a round and just moved and didn't throw a punch.
Sure.
He's not at that level.
No, and the thing is, he waited until the last 10 seconds to try to steal the round a little bit, but that's not going to happen in Germany.
Another clean right hand there on the replay, and he's been landing that same shot the whole fight. Decent shot right there, uppercut from Chisora. Again, not entirely flush, certainly landed, but not the flush kind of shots that Klitschko has landed repeatedly in this fight.
And Klitschko, who has averaged as much as 60 jabs a round in the past, is averaging 21 20 around.
Yeah, but it would work well against a guy that's coming in like Chisora says with that pressure. I think if he kept meeting him with that jab, he'd find it much easier to land that knockout right hand right behind it.
Maybe Chisora's just waiting because he's the one that's been predicting ever since this fight was signed that he would knock out Klitschko in the 8th round.
Well, we got a couple to go.
Now Chisora throwing some punches after taking a round off in terms of throwing punches, except for the last couple of seconds. A warning from Guido Cavalieri. All right, Dan, scoring. What do you got?
Got this fight a shutout so far, 5 rounds to nothing. There was maybe one round, I think it was maybe the second round that could have gone the other way. I thought it was a Klitschko round. I've got this a shutout, although it's not a shutout in the sense that it's utter domination. It's a shutout that Vitaly's winning all of the rounds. Because Chisora has done some good work, but like we talked about, the punches just don't seem to be landing as clean, as flush, and especially the last round, he rarely threw anything.
And Chisora's not going to muscle Klitschko out of his element there in the middle. There's a right hand by Klitschko. He's not one of those guys you're going to be able to manhandle physically.
Klitschko's just going to work right now. He's breaking him down, landing right hands. He knows he's got the fight in control. Chisora is the one that needs to really pick up the pace if he's going to want to do some damage, because it's very obvious he cannot win the fight on points at this point unless he scores multiple knockdowns.
Yeah, but he's definitely having a better round than last.
Oh, right hand by Derek Delboy Chisora.
He's letting his hands go a lot better in this round than last, and
Klitschko looking, not throwing the jab. Now back to the jab. And Chisora continues to be aggressive. There's a body blow. That makes sense, Freddie.
It definitely does make sense, and I wish he'd come back with the hook behind it. Another right hook to the body, but nothing behind it. One punch at a time. One punch is not enough against a guy like Klitschko.
Freddie, if I was sitting here with Gil Clancy, he always would say that. Come behind it with the hook.
Yes, he would. And, not bad advice.
The late, great Gil Clancy. We love him.
We do a pretty good round for Chisora, though, I think.
Chisora's been active, and he's been throwing punches. Instead of taking the round off, he's been busy. He's hit the body. He landed that right hand, maybe his best punch of the fight. And this might wake up Dan Rayfield's scorecard. So interesting that Chisora decided in the 5th round to just let Klitschko punch.
Yeah, but you're letting him control the pace,
And then the 60 came back.
Yeah, are you listening to me?
And the power punches in that round,
we said on this guy.
15 each. Each landed the same, 15. There's that right, Freddie. What do you think?
Just really close to landing there. No, not quite on the money. Just kind of was a grazing blow. Didn't really land flush, but if he was a little closer, there could be some trouble there.
Let the shots go. Come on. Come on, baby.
I had a whole horn in my head.
Don Charles really kind of whipping his guy here, trying to get him to let his hands go a little bit more, try to motivate him. You know, Don Charles, to his credit, was pretty irritated in some of his comments about the antics of his fighter at the weigh-in. But he put that behind him. He's just trying to get him here to really motivate him here to let those hands go. He knows they're in a tough fight.
For his first championship fight, Chisora is certainly making a better showing in the ring than he did outside.
Yeah, I mean, he's losing the fight, but he's game. He's trying.
Game.
That's all you can ask. He's going to go down swinging like he's doing right now, unlike his British countryman David Hay that talked a lot before the fight with the brother, the way he talked in the interview prior to this fight.
Freddie, you got to give him a puncher's chance. Although Klitschko has never gone down, you just never know. If you continue to be aggressive and continue to take the fight towards him, and here's the left hook, like an overhand left hook.
Yeah, overhand right there. This guy, he's coming to fight. I mean, Klitschko's giving him momentum right now, and he's taking it.
And Klitschko answers with a right hand, another right hand.
Good action here.
Best action of the fight.
Well, Klitschko said in the build-up to this fight, he thought it would be an interesting fight for the fans and for him. He wanted to fight a good opponent. He's got one standing in front of him right now, and they're making a good fight out of it.
And I don't think Chisora showed any fatigue in that 5th round. He just employed a different strategy. And now he's back to heaving away.
You see a 40-year-old guy in there, the way he's been outputting punches?
No.
I mean, he talked about, everybody asked him about his age constantly, Klitschko. And he says, listen, you know, if you told me when I was 20 or 25 that I'd still be fighting at 40, I wouldn't have believed you. But even now, as long as he feels good, has no intention at any point of saying, I'm done, until he thinks that he can't do it anymore.
And Chisora comes smoking out of the corner after Klitschko had put him into the corner, and again being the aggressor.
Yeah, Chisora's taking a little break there. I think he's a little winded now, but he's been a little bit active in this round, and I think he's having a very good round now.
Right hand got through. Another right hand combination by Klitschko. You almost can see him waiting for that one good right hand to knock his opponent down. And a good counter that time by Chisora.
There's the jab gone from Klitschko, though. It's disappeared.
And Chisora's done what he wanted to, turn it into more of a slugfest.
He has, and it's definitely, I think, to his benefit, and that was a good round.
Most action of the fight in that 7th round.
Jetzt hast du den Rücken erschüttert, das gemerkt. Im rechten Auge sagen oder der rechte Kopf. Aber nicht reintreten, feststehen, okay? Er kommt von alleine.
Freddie, you may not know German well, but what is he trying to say as we look?
Right-handed dig by Klitschko.
Chisora had a good start of that round, but then he seemed to punch himself out a little bit. And
you saw that. This is the round that Bill Boy Chisora said to us all week. This is the round he's going to knock out Klitschko, so keep your eye on this one.
How much do you want to bet he doesn't?
I'm not saying he's going to, but
I know.
He's never been knocked down.
Let's see if he picks it up because he wants to fulfill the prophecy.
Talk about calling a shot.
That would be quite impressive if he could actually deliver.
Chisora doubling up on the left hand. And coming back with the right. Chisora trailing in this fight, but not for lack of effort. And he's really coming back here these middle rounds.
he definitely is coming back here. He's laying some good combinations, and he's staying with it. Good job.
Freddie, when he throws that overhand left, though, it opens him to a big right hand from Klitschko.
It does, but the thing is, the trade-off is good for him, though, because I think he needs to land more punches and break this guy down.
Chisora very To the body goes Chisora. And you can feel the energy in the crowd.
Chanting for Klitschko. They're supporting their man. Cowboys landing some solid shots in this round, though.
He's right there with him, toe to toe. Height advantage, but he only weighs 2 pounds more than Chisora. He almost jumped into that punch. You can't have leverage in that.
I like to see him throw those combinations a little bit more and lead him into the big shot.
The 8th round has come and gone, and Klitschko is still standing, but we still have a fight.
Well, the good news for Chisora is that at least I gave him the round in round number 8, even though he didn't score the knockout as he predicted. I thought that was probably his best round of the fight. Very, very active. Great stamina he's showing because he's taking a lot of leather, but he's still giving it, but he's there spitting blood in the corner. You know, some of those shots from Klitschko getting through when you're spitting what looked like pure blood into the bucket.
Yeah, he definitely gave him that round also. It was a very good round for him, very active. He did back him up well, and he needs to do more of that. And let's see.
Percentages pretty much speak for themselves. Very interesting round as you look at the Epix punch stats. Epix, a next-generation premium entertainment channel, video on demand and online service, bringing you the first of 3 heavyweight title fights on 3 straight weekends. And we're headed to the 9th of this one. Here in Munich, let's go to the scorecard for Dan Rayfield.
See there, I have it 78-74 for Chisora. I thought, like I said, he had a very good 8th round. I've given him 2 rounds, but he's done good work in some of those other rounds. I just thought Klitschko did enough to take the round. So it's a competitive fight, even if the scorecard looks a little bit more one-sided. But most importantly for us and for the viewers, very, very good, action-packed heavyweight fight.
And Klitschko doing a lot of clinching.
He is trying to tie him up, but no, I think he's getting a little tired. I really do.
Well, one thing about Klitschko is when he does score knockouts, which most of his wins are by knockout, at least in his last 10 fights, he's scored 7 of his knockouts in the 8th round or later. So he's a guy that doesn't get a guy out in 1 or 2 rounds with 1 shot. Like we talked about in the open, he breaks guys down, and usually when he gets a knockout, it's late in the fight.
But I would say, Dan, that and in this fight, he's probably taken more punches than in the other ones you're talking about.
Knockouts, you know, you look at that knockout ratio, you say 40 knockouts and 43 wins. You know, knockouts. But if you look at his history against, you know, pretty good contenders, they've been late in the fight, round 8, round 9. You know, in 3 of his more recent fights, they've been in the 10th round. So he builds that up and stops them late.
I think he breaks him down with the jab in a lot of those.
He builds that up and stops them late.
I think he breaks him down with the jab in a lot of those fights, and he's not having so much success with the jab here because I think the pressure is a little bit too close and he's not getting that range.
I just wonder why he stopped throwing the jab. I mean, it's been his weapon for his entire career. Maybe could it be a left-hand injury that we don't know about that sort of dispensed with it to a certain degree, which is why he's got kind of right-hand crazy?
There's a right hand.
It definitely could be.
Coming up on a minute in round 9. Klitschko has not thrown a lot of punches in this round, but they have been right hands.
Yeah, that lead right hand is very unusual for him.
Missed a right there that could have been effective if it had landed. But Chisora is a little bit awkward and moving well on his feet.
That's the key word. He is awkward, and he's definitely giving him problems.
When you look at the jabs or the left hands that he does throw, the ones that he's thrown in the last, maybe, you know, I've just started to sort of look because I thought maybe there's something wrong with the hand. You know, it's not that stiff telephone pole jab that he normally throws. it's been sort of like he flicks it out there just to sort of let him know that his left hand is
right
there.
got through there.
Just kind of measuring him with it, and then landing a big right hand, of course.
Klitschko landing 2 big right hands in this round, peppering away with another right hand, almost using it as a lead instead of the jab, and he's done that throughout the fight. Final seconds of round 9 for the WBC heavyweight title, and Klitschko picked it up in that last minute, and the crowd responds. Chisora took the first couple minutes of that round, but I would think the judges were impacted by the last minute.
And I was too.
At least you're honest, Freddie. How often do you tell your fighters you got to finish strong? Leave them with the impression.
You know, if my fighters win 9 rounds to nothing in a 10-round fight, I want them to be impressive in the 10th round. I want them to keep fighting the fight you're fighting.
That's getting greedy, my friend.
In Germany, I believe what we hear right now from the crowd, I can't make out the scores, but this is a WBC world title fight. I believe that they just announced the scores after the 8th round and the 9th. You know, they do open scoring after rounds 4 and round 8. I think they just announced the scorecards from after round 8 just now, and there was a big roar for the crowd, which, if I'm right, it means obviously that Vitaly's winning the fight on the scorecards. They don't do that in the United States. In some other countries, they do it. The WBC insists on it. I think it's a horrible rule, but we're stuck with it in overseas fights.
So we're headed to the 10th, scheduled for 12. Chisora has been a warrior in this fight. He's also pressed Klitschko throughout. Klitschko dominated early, and Chisora has fought very solidly through the middle rounds. And now the question is, how does he finish? How do they each finish?
You notice Klitschko a little bit, he's twisting, shaking that left hand a little bit there. I think something's wrong with that hand right there.
I mean, that's what we talked about so much in the build-up to the fight about the left jab, the left jab, the left jab. And, he worked it a little bit early on. It landed. And then I think I said in the very first round, look, he's going to the right hand real early. Usually lets the roll, get things rolling before he starts to employ that. In this fight, he went right to it, and maybe that's the reason. We don't know for sure. Maybe we'll find out after the fight.
He's only landed 4 jabs per round, which is way off for Klitschko. He's actually landed 60 in fights.
I mean, listen, I'm not inside his body. We don't know exactly what's going on, but that would seem to be an obvious sign that there's some sort of issue with the left hand.
There's a right hand that was effective, though, as Chisora grabs for the clinch after eating some leather.
Seems like he heard that maybe a little bit early. He might have heard that in training camp, actually. But, Klitschko, he's not the type of guy to pull out of fights because of a small injury.
Oh, when he did pull out of fights earlier before his retirement against Hasim Rahman, that fight was postponed / canceled multiple times, I think 3 or 4 times. Those were obviously legitimate injuries. He ended up retiring for almost 4 years. He had knee surgery. He had a back surgery. Clearly needed the time off and let it heal properly. It maybe needed that 3 years plus to heal, because since he's come back, he's been totally dominant. But he hasn't made a point of pulling out a fight. Some guys, they get a little nick or a little cut and they're done.
Especially being the champion.
Of course, and he wants to keep his schedule. He wants to fight multiple times this year. He probably looked at Chisora as a guy that they took a calculated gamble with that says, maybe it's a tough fight, but I can win even if I'm a little bit dinged up.
And there's a right hand by Chisora that gets through. He countered nicely. And even off the clinch, he's always trying to throw a punch.
Listen, even if the hand isn't hurt, he's still basically winning the fight with one hand because he's not using the left, even if it's healthy.
Chisora comes inside trying to land that left hook. Now a right hand, and Vitaly counters with his own right. But Chisora is like a buzzsaw in there. He just won't go away, like a pest. Landed the left hook. I think Vitaly lost his footing. He stepped on Chisora's foot. But another action round.
I'll say this, it's one of the more exciting Vitaly Klitschko fights I've seen, maybe since that outstanding battle he had in a loss against Lennox Lewis. Corey Sanders fight when he won the title for the second time in 2004, the vacant title that he had after Lennox had retired. That was a real exciting fight, but beyond that, you're looking at dominant performances. Danny Williams, Samuel Peter, Juan Carlos Gomez. Arreola was supposed to be an action fight, but Arreola was outclassed and stopped late in that fight. Kevin Johnson, who ran for 12 rounds. Sosnowski tried to put up an effort in a title fight, but was outclassed completely.
And Freddie, we just saw him miss a bunch of punches, but it hasn't slowed down his buzzsaw approach. It hasn't slowed down his aggressiveness at all.
No, not at all. And he is very, very active out there. And I take my hat off to him. For a kid with that lack of experience, he's fighting a good fight.
He's the former British Commonwealth heavyweight champion, the former British heavyweight champion, but he's only been a pro for 4 years, 28 years of age.
And he should be the European heavyweight champion, but he got last month, underwent shoulder surgery. Because of an injury that had been giving him problems. And he had a shoulder surgery, and now he's out until at least around September, according to his promoter. And now he's out until at least around September.
He's too far behind.
Well, I've got the fight 98-92 in favor of Klitschko, so could he win a decision? He'd have to put him on the deck several times to make up those points. So it would seem as though he's going to need to land a Hail Mary here.
And it's going to be tough for him to get a decision in Germany, too.
Not only that, but look how Klitschko's fight the first 11 rounds. He seems like he's able to do this round in and round out, fight at a certain pace, not throw his left hand for whatever reason, and just use lead right hands and control the action and do enough to win the rounds.
Again, looking for the right hand.
He had Chisora turn around there and threw a right hand. That could have been a very, very dangerous shot. I don't know if he landed at full force, but that could have been a real problem for Chisora.
Right hand, right on the button, followed it up with a solid jab. Nice combination by Klitschko.
You asked if Chisora could knock Klitschko in the next 2 rounds. I'm wondering if Klitschko can stop Chisora in the next 2 rounds with the amount of shots he's taken. A wild swing and a miss with the right hand.
Yeah, and that shows fatigue. Another right got through there by Klitschko.
Closely, I'm trying to.
Separating these guys after a multitude of clinches.
If you think there's been a multitude of clinches.
After a multitude of clinches.
If you think there's been a multitude of clinches, you haven't watched a lot of fights of recent heavyweight. There's been a few, but by heavyweight standards, I actually don't think it's been much at all. It hasn't interfered with the flow of the fight or been distracting or in any way diminished the excitement level of the action that we're seeing.
Combination punctuated by a right hand body blow by Chisora to end the 11th round. Well, we had a long build-up before these guys even made it into the ring. Chisora wouldn't come out of the locker room. Finally, he did. Then he spit water in the champion's face.
Now he actually spit it in Vladimir's face in the second. Although also a champion.
Don't go reckless.
I think a lot of those things just trying to motivate himself and try to really get his head in the game. But after the fight, he'll be very respectful, I'm sure.
Not enough punches thrown there by Chisora fighting from behind. Do you agree?
I definitely agree like that. He needs to be busy, and he needs to knock out to win. And I hope he goes for it, because that's what you got.
Well,
it doesn't get any bigger than this.
If he makes it through round 12, he'll just be one of the very few folks that have made it the distance with Vitaly Klitschko.
And the thing is, he tried to win. He wasn't like David Hay and those guys.
I respect what Chisora is doing.
I do. I respect that too.
Here we go.
100%.
Round 12, WBC heavyweight title. Vitaly Klitschko, who has knocked out 40 of his 45 opponents. up against Derek Del Boy Chisora, who is trying to survive this 12th round. Not only survive, but continue to press some action. He's pressed the action better than he has landed punches.
That's a good point, but that has probably resonated with the judges a little bit to the extent that he'll win some rounds on the cards. I don't know how many.
It reminds me of a little bit of a Joe Frazier type, but Joe would come with the hooks, and he's just not letting his hands go enough. He's got the right movement. He's breaking in. He's breaking in inside of that jab and that long right hand.
He's going for it right here a little bit.
That left hook got through. He missed with the right. He just hasn't been able to score a lot of combinations. He'll get one punch through, and then he'll miss the second.
But Klitschko's height has a lot to do with that. He's tall and he pulls away. He fights very tall. He uses height to his best advantage.
And by the way, still no left hands in this round. I mean, I want to ask him, what's up with the left hand? Is it hurt, or did you just decide to challenge yourself and win a fight strictly throwing a right hand? It cannot do damage, but it's still what you've trained for. You're still going to try to use it. Cannot do damage. To try to connect, you're just putting it out there to let him know his left.
He would give us an action fight, and he has. The knockout didn't work out in the 8th, but he's into the 12th with a minute to go.
He changed his prediction to the 12th, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure. Klitschko got through with the left that time. Here comes Chisora. And Klitschko got caught turned around.
Good stamina from both guys. Really giving it their all here. And as I've said repeatedly, when you're in this kind of fight, that's all I can ask for, is to let both guys go out there and lay it on the line and do the best that they can. And it seems to me that both guys are doing exactly that in this fight. And it's been a good one.
Chisora chops away at the body. Winging punches now. Trying to land a right hand, but instead just wrestles his opponent into the corner. Final seconds of the bout. Another right hand that Chisora did land, but it wasn't enough. And that is it. They go the distance. And the crowd with a huge ovation for these two fighters.
That was a good fight. It may turn out to be quite one-sided on the scorecards, but that was entertaining. That was one of the better heavyweight fights I've seen in a while. Well, maybe since Hellenius against Chisora, but as far as world title fights, that's a good fight right there.
Freddie, I had it 8 rounds to 4. I think Dan had it more lopsided. What about you?
I had 9-3.
And I had it 10 rounds to 2, 118-110 in favor of who will still be the champ, Vitaly Klitschko.
That's still competitive.
Best at this point. I mean, the quality guys out there, but the thing is,
but wouldn't you want to see Del Boy again? We've had 2 fights.
Yeah, I would definitely watch that. But you know what? I would like to see Del Boy fight David Haye.
That'd be a big fight, England.
That'd be a big fight.
Instead of David Haye going up against Klitschko.
Let's see if David Haye can talk and fight.
But I mean, I'd love to see a guy like Del Boy, maybe come to the States if he has the desire. Maybe fight a guy like Chris Arreola. Maybe fight one of the other top contenders in the division. Maybe as a step up if they feel he's ready for an American guy like a Seth Mitchell. I mean, there are fights that can be made where he gets to fight guys his own size, and he's not at a disadvantage of fighting a giant.
True, and the thing is, he comes to fight, and people like that.
Now let's see, they're cutting off his. I want to see if they're going to cut off his left wrap and see if there's a problem with Klitschko's hand. But the feed that we're getting went to the other corner.
But the thing about Klitschko is he is. Oh, and now Vladimir wants to fight him right now, or and now Vladimir wants to fight him right now, or another date.
Well, remember they had 2 fights scheduled, and because of various injuries and issues, he fight instead. And And Del Boy didn't get that fight at the time, but he got the next best thing. He got the opportunity to fight the brother for one of the titles.
But Vladimir actually tore an abdominal muscle, withdrew 4 days before the fight. That was back in December of 2010. Then it was rescheduled for April 2011, and it was canceled because Klitschko decided to fight Hay. So they never got it on, but they're doing it right now. All right, let's stand by for Michael Buffer and the official decision. The fight goes the distance. Dr. Iron Fist looking to add to his ledger in terms of victories, but this one not a KO. And it's going to be interesting to see the way that the three judges scored this fight. I would think that they gave 3 or 4 rounds to.
I'm looking to see if we can notice anything as how he's acting with his left hand after the fight, Vitaly.
Chisora backed up his words. He made it a fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds, we go to the scorecards. Robin Delpierre scores at 118-110. Bella Florian, same score, 118-110. And Eddie Pope, a unanimous decision, and still WBC heavyweight champion of the world, Dr. Eisenhaus, Vitaly Klitschko.
Unanimous decision, no surprise there. Let's watch closely what happens here.
Round 13, maybe.
There's 2 Klitschkos, Chisora. I don't think you can take them both on.
That's not a fair fight. This wasn't really a fair fight just against one. Against 2, it's a death match.
Even you too, Sunshine.
Yes, Sunshine.
Even you, Sunshine.
Vladimir's ready to go. You know, he's been training for his own fight in 2 weeks.
He used a few choice words there, Freddie, but you wouldn't expect anything different.
Of course.
Why would he show any class after the fight? He didn't show any before the fight.
He showed the most class during the fight.
Yeah, he didn't foul. He didn't commit any kind of flagrant situations there. No low blows of consequence or intentional headbutting or anything like that.
Gratulation. Ich glaube, wir haben einen
All right,
sensationellen Kampf gesehen.
we've got another big fight coming up on February 25th.